好，同志们，我们都在晃晃烈烈的站起来，站起来。Welcome to the 285th edition of China Now with your gang of two. Nan Su, who is the senior investigative reporter for Epoch Times, and Michael Olson, who long ago was dissuaded from being a China hound by the great helmsman himself, Mao Zedong. Each week, Nansu and I look out across the broad expanse of the Pacific Ocean from our home port here at SantaCruzVoice.com, and we ask, China now, friend or foe, war or peace? Ni hao, Nansu.
Hey, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, depending where you are.
Good after. Hello, everybody, wherever you are and whenever you are. So, hot take. Iran and the U.S. are still at loggerheads over the Straits of Hormuz. And I think really we're fighting over Iran's support of terrorist organizations, who has access to the Straits of Hormuz, and the subterranean caverns filled with intercontinental ballistic missiles waiting to be armed with freshly minted atomic bombs. That seems to be what we're fighting with Iran over. Is are we making any headway, Nansu?
Well, I think so. We are absolutely making headways. Think about this. This war has been going on, it's a war that Iranian regime launched against the United States for 47 years. And Donald Trump, he created a situation that no other president previously, held upper hand. It was entirely the strategy is working. The United States is in the position that's better than ever before. The United States is possibly, have all the cards in hand. Now, the only question is how long? How long we're going to hold these upper hand cards because as the oil, as the oil supply, running out for all the countries, mainly the
And
Asian
mainly
countries.
China too, right?
Oh, China is a part of it.
Yeah.
But however, you're talking about a lot of Asian countries and or European countries. European countries a little better in a better shape. But you think about this, Asian countries have 60% of its oil from the Middle East, right? So now, so all these countries are starting, because think about this, the oil. So when the price goes up, you have Asian countries, their price jump first, and then who is the next? It's going to be the Western world because that's our supply chain over there. So now timing wise, of course, we have a lot longer time that we can react to this because when the next wave of the price shock coming, generally we looking at our price pump. Our price pump is like 4 to 6 week behind the oil price, right? Four to
Right.
six every $10 of a Brentwood, what was it? No, no, no. Brand oil. Brand oil increase sorry, the brand every $10 of a brand oil price increase, that's going to be about somewhere a quarter to 50 cents increase of the gasoline price here in the United States. And we are talking about 4 to 6 weeks behind. So now we are the current oil price, the current gasoline price reflects to what a month ago. So which is about what in the a month ago, which is about $95, I would say around. So now we are at the 20, we are because we are drive now we are going back to there because the last couple of days of the good news of the negotiation. But however, um, January's, but we are not talking about a lot of increase and decrease, just like a dollar, more or less. But however, when the price shock coming from the supply chain, that's going to be huge change. So the but we have more time to wait, because I think that Trump has a time to wait, but Trump still need to do fast. He's it's like
It needs
Iran.
to make a deal pretty quick.
Yeah, yeah, he need to make the decision. You can't wait. If Iranian regime doesn't want to make deal, he need to jump back to the military operation right away because we have a lot more time than the Iranian regime, but still it's not forever. So basically, I think that if Iranian regime doesn't make decision, I would say by the I don't know we if we today tomorrow, I think we should not
So
wait.
it's soon. You got to make, Nuncio, I've heard scuttlebutt that Iran is holding out for terms. It's pushing Trump and waylaying the negotiations in order to get better terms for surrendering to whatever. One of the terms I heard was that it we get to start building nukes again after 20 years. And the other one that they are holding out for is the right to own the Straits of Hormuz. Now, if you suggest that, as you did, that so much of Asia's oil comes out of the Straits of Hormuz, uh, that would mean if Iran does own the Straits of Hormuz,
That
that,
itself is a nuclear bomb.
yes, yes.
That itself is a nuclear bomb. I just saw that news come out this morning that they have new details about the Trump proposal to the Iranian regime, and that's including that was the famous one-page proposal, including the 14 points. Number one, Iran hands over all enriched material. So previously, we were talking about the enriched material of uranium that's over 60%. But now it says all enriched material. So that I don't know what that means, because there's no details explanation attached
All
to it.
means all, right?
Or may means all, right? Now the next thing is a 20-year ban on enrichment. Now, enrichment means what? Now, we understood that when Witkoff negotiated with Iranian official, like his Iranian foreign minister, uh, prior to the military operation, we are talking about that the United States would provide all the nuclear
Yeah, we were going to give them the dust, the radioactive dust that they need to generate energy with. We were going to
right, right. The
provide it.
the less than three, the about 3%, right? That's kind of enrichment, enriched uranium it can be used for nuclear energy. But now it says 20-year ban on enrichment. Does that mean they cannot even enrich the uranium for nuclear power plant? I don't know. And then number three, declaration that Iran won't seek nukes. Now they need a declaration, and Iran dismantle key nuclear facilities. Does
Oh,
that mean all the nuclear power plant? Does that include it? I don't know. And inspections, if violation occur, that's trust and verify, right? And the last one, ban Iran on underground nuclear work. So they cannot, dig those tunnels and hide everything. So they have to put everything above ground. So that basically is a total surrender, right?
it is, but is it not similar to what the deal Obama worked out with them?
No, different, right? Obama doesn't have the leverage that Trump created for the situation, right?
Well, that's true.
Obama basically he tried to give them money
Yeah.
to. It's
But
the
it,
same way. It's the same way how our a government dealing with China. We try to give them money and bribe them for change.
be
That doesn't
nice, please. Yeah.
work.
Um, but did not Obama work out a deal that said you cannot have develop a nuclear weapon for 12 years or something like that? And it,
Let's just see if it works, right?
yeah,
20 years later, maybe nuclear weapon, it's not that big deal anymore. So 20 years later, maybe the whole world will change. Let's hope for the best. But at least the 20 years is better than nothing, right?
yeah,
But the problem is, I don't know. There was a number one. There were several questions. Number one, who are we negotiate with? The person negotiate with Trump
could be a taxi
has the
driver.
final say.
Yeah, it could be a taxi driver in someplace, you know.
Right? That's number one. And number two, it's now is the Iranian regime going to agree with uh all the conditions, all these conditions that are acceptable to Trump, right? Because last night, I look at last night. Last night, the former IRGC, gosh, I had a problem with that. IRGC commander,
Iran
the former commander.
Revolutionary Guard Corps,
Yeah,
IRGC.
the former IRGC commander basically said Iran need to have its nuclear. Iran need to control the Strait of Hormuz. Um, so that was just last night. So I don't know what's happened, what's going to. I don't. Well, first of all, I won't trust Iran. Just like I wouldn't trust anything, from the mouth of Beijing.
Well, you can trust them to break whatever agreement you make with them.
Yeah.
So they're reliable in that they are unreliable.
Well, see, that's why you have to make a lot more restricted condition to
Yeah,
start with. You can if you make something that barely make the current situation go moving forward. That means you didn't get anything, right? You have to make a lot more. So later you kind of prepare like they will water down some of it. You say 20 years, but you're actually expecting what, maybe 10 years.
yeah.
And you right? So you have to make that preparation. You can't if the current situation, it's the United States have so much advantage. If we don't take the advantage, we just let it go, then that means then we spend
That
all the
that
money.
means that they will take ownership of the Straits of Hormuz because who will stop them from doing that? That
Of
means
course, of
that means
course,
all the oil that comes out of the Persian Gulf is going to be essentially owned by Iran.
Iran, controlled by Iran, right?
Yes,
Now,
all of
yeah,
it.
now the problem is we have democracy in the United States, in the Western world. Now you can see, how many people they don't care about what's happening in the Middle East, and you can see that because of a democracy to start a war, it's a very difficult thing. So if we don't take the current advantage created by the tremendous and excellent work done by the U.S. military this time, the next time will be a lot harder to do the same thing again.
Yes. And who else would do it? There's nobody else. There was nobody else that would do it.
Yeah,
And
that's it.
so therefore, we're looking at a very real situation in which Iran could essentially controlled most of the world simply by virtue of its control of the Straits of Hormuz.
Yeah, this week it's interesting. A lot of headline news, right? First of all, is Trump started this freedom of what? Freedom of navigation of the
Yeah.
freedom project, and which lasting about 48 hours. And then he just shut it down right away. You know, have you ever thought about why he just make that project only last for 48 hours?
Why is that? That's a good question. Why did Trump cease that effort to keep the straits open?
It doesn't need to be, you know.
Huh? Why
It's
is that?
totally see Trump has a deal make he's like a art of a deal of art, right? He
And this,
has this
yeah, what
like
he's doing now is trying to make the biggest deal in his life and probably forever. Because how do you keep Iran from owning its geography, which is the Straits of Hormuz?
now there were five biggest tactic in Trump's book, deal art of a deal, right? Art of a deal that he lay out five biggest tactic. And one of the five, it's called media, using the media.
Using the media. Yeah.
So I think Trump is just using the media that create a favorable condition for his negotiation with Iran.
Ah,
It's more of a gesture thing. Think about this. All these people, they say, oh, the reason because the United States need to transport to get all these ships out of Persian Gulf because there is a humanitarian disaster. You have like about 2,000 ships, like about 23,000.
lot of hungry sailors on those ships with no access to food.
That's total BS.
Ah,
The thing doesn't really exist. It's just the media BS, right? Now think about this. If you really think about what happened, yes, it's true. You have probably first of all, you probably may not have 2,000 sheep. It's probably about 1,500. But it doesn't say matter. Just say it's true. You have 20 some thousand people stuck, in the ocean. But think about where they are. They are not in the no man's place, like in the deep in the ocean, right? That you have like hundreds of thousands of miles,
right.
without any people, So they are right next to the richest nation, right? You think about this Kuwait, Saudi, UAE. They are the richest nation in the world. How can this happen? Yeah, but they don't need much. All these 20,000 people, you have a lot of people, but they don't need much. They just need some food, some medicine. I mean, it can be easily resolved, by what? By a phone call made by Mark Rubio, the Secretary of State. It can easily made by all the countries, their foreign ministry.
Everybody chip in for a humanitarian airlift to food and water and whatever.
Yeah, how can the now this plus even there's somebody sick, they need to be sent to the hospital. They can easily take place, right?
Yeah,
So and this is the routine operation for all the sea transportation companies
yeah.
because they need to deal with this thing every day. Every port they go to, they need the food, they need the medicine, they need the people somebody sick, they need to send them to hospital. Even they cannot handle it, then they can in the crisis situation. This is the foreign ministry's work in the United States. That's the work of the State Department, not the work of Department of War. So Trump is literally doing this like a freedom project, using War Department the function of War Department to conduct the function of a State Department.
That's really diplomatic chess, isn't it?
Yeah, that well, this basically he's just using this. He's using this for several reasons, right? Because the for the diplomacy, right? Because the negotiation is going on, that's under the State Department, and Trump using this basically, the United States Navy is was able to transport two, I think two American ship and one German ships out of Hormuz, then basically show because now think about the inside the Iranian regime, you have people against the United States military operation, and then they want to fight, and another there are other groups they don't want to fight, they want to negotiate. So Trump basically using this action to show the Iranian regime, all these factions, hey, you can't stop us. If we want to get those ships out, we are able to. So why do you fight for? Well, what are you fighting for? You can't control the Hormuz, right? And number two, I think that it's not only make Iranian regime look back, but you also make all these European countries look bad, right? So hey, the United States.
This is your oil in those ships.
Yeah, well, why? Where it's your aircraft carrier, where it's your destroyer, where is your navy, where is your air force? What are you doing? I mean, somebody attack and block your oil supply. That's a attack your sovereignty, and you're not even there to do anything.
Well,
Gee.
it's a good indication that you don't have sovereignty when it gets right down to it. If they can shut off your supply of oil, they can shut you off. And then
By the
that
way, by
that
the
means
way, by the way, if there is an action here. French aircraft carrier just went through yesterday. Just went through the Suez Canal and into. But the war, the operation is almost finished. Now they're there. They're showing up.
well,
At least they show up.
yeah, I suspect, Nansu, that this war will never be done. I think, we can win this battle with Iran, force them to back down, maybe even get their 1,000 pounds of 60% radioactive dust, as Trump calls it. But this war is not going to be done
Of course,
because
they're going to try everything they could, right? So now, but at least, you will delay the time that they actually have the nuclear bomb, and you will also, very importantly, very importantly, it entirely changed the geopolitical landscape. Now, after this war, what happened? The entire Middle East, besides Iran, it's going to be stand it's going to stand on the United States side. And now and the entire Middle East, they will know who is their friend, who they can count on,
well,
and
clearly
who they
it's going to be the entire Middle East against Iran.
and China, right? Everyone knows who is behind China, but who is behind Iran, right? China is behind Iran, and now that's why the Iranian regime's uh, 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 foreign minister just he just visited Russia, and he just come back from Beijing, right? So so I think that I think in the future, from now on, moving forward, I think all these Middle East countries, um, against Iran, they will be our airline. They will replace all these European airlines. They will be more important to us than than all these UK and
Sure,
France,
more important than
Germany.
yeah, because they're
It's
playing.
energy, right? Because if there is no energy, all these countries they're going to shut down too.
Yeah. Well, there is energy in England, off of Scotland at least.
Well, they
Uh,
cannot even protect themselves, right? So,
so it is an era of change when it gets right
it's
down to it.
yeah, the geopolitical
Yeah.
changes are taking place. I think this war will entirely reformat the geopolitical map, not only in Europe but also in the Middle East, and then also if this deal can be signed, although I'm not optimistic, I'm not really optimistic that
And
Iran.
if it is signed,
Well,
will it stay signed?
if no, well, if it doesn't sign, second wave of military
Yeah.
operation will follow, right? So at the end of all when the dust settle, I think that Trump will be able to defend the peace in the Western Pacific because China will realize, they don't have energy. If they start a war in the Western Pacific, they won't be able to sustain the war
Yeah.
because they can't do it.
Where are they going to fill up their tanks?
That's right.
Well,
Where
ladies and
the
gentlemen, this is China Now with non-Soon Michael Olson. We're open the show talking about the red hot situation in Iran. Will Iran and the United States come to an agreement over the Straits of Hormuz, over the nuclear capabilities of Iran, and the all of the other things that Iran is involved in? And how will that impact uh, our relationship and our upcoming meeting with Xi Jinping? Very interesting times. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to go through some hot take news tips when we come back, and see you in just a couple moments.
Your business needs more space? Space is reasonable, secured, and accessible 24/7 for qualified businesses at Anbar Self Storage and U-Haul. Easy off Highway 1 on Airport Boulevard. Anbar Self Storage and U-Haul in Freedom.
The kid is moving her family to Sacramento. Anbar Self Storage and U-Haul has the moving vans, car trailers, and shipping boxes she needs ready to go. Easy off Highway 1 on Airport Boulevard. Anbar Self Storage and U-Haul in Freedom.
Attention investors. This is a simple commercial on the investment value of gold. Gold continues to make new highs. In good markets and in bad markets, you need to have your portfolio balanced with gold. Learn about owning physical gold or getting a gold-backed IRA. Make this simple call right now.
800-414-1657. 800-414-1657. That's 800-414-1657.
Sponsored by Reagan Gold.
There's more than one way to enjoy the benefits of cannabis. Hi, I'm Johnny from the Hook Outlet in Capitola, Santa Cruz, and Watsonville. With topicals. The Hook Outlet has many topical preparations that provide localized relief for pain and inflammation of muscles and joints without psychoactive effects. The Hook Outlet has a friendly staff to help you select the right topical for your needs. Pain relief, anyone? Stop by and say hi at the Hook Outlet in Capitola, Santa Cruz, and Watsonville. Find us fast online at hookoutlet.com.
The weather will change. Knox Roofing here. We all remember the story of the three little pigs. We all know the third pig hired Knox Roofing to do his roof. Every day he crawls into his home knowing no wind, no earthquake, fire, or even the big bad wolf can hurt his house. The weather will change for the good and sometimes not so good. Have a Knox roof installed on your home, and one thing you can be certain of, good security. I promise you that. The number to call is 461-0634. Thanks, folks.
Welcome back. We have been talking about Iran, and the Middle East, and now we're going to turn to China. But wait, China really is Iran, and Iran really is China. It seems to me. Am I wrong on that supposition?
Well, first of all, you have to understand, China and Iran, Chinese regime and Iranian regime, the only thing they have in common is their common enemy, the United States,
They
right?
have something else in hand, totalitarian governments.
Well, they have a totalitarian government, but the totalitarian government and totalitarian government doesn't mean they're going to get along. The only reason they became alliance to each other, it's because they have a common enemy, right? So think about this in the early 80s, in the 70s and 80s before Iranian went to the extreme religious e- extreme government, that they're religious hawks, and they're Marxist. They build alliance in Iran too. They're all against it because they have a common enemy, United States. So they work together to throw out the old what was the Shah's
The
government?
Shah, yeah,
The Shah,
Pahlavi.
yeah, Bolivian, right? They throw him out, and then guess what? All these Marxist, Iranian Marxists, they all been thrown to jail later, right? They are, they have
Well,
a different,
yeah.
they
But
have a different
what I'm
ideology.
thinking, what I'm thinking about, Nansu, is that the governments are owned uh, in both countries by organizations that are outside of the government. But those organizations, the Chinese Communist Party and the Shia Muslims, have organizations that in fact own the country,
On the government,
own the
right?
government, and own the country. So both of these organizations have every reason to do what they can to survive because they own everything.
That it's correct. But the reason they became alliance is because they are the common enemy. They have a common enemy, which is the United States.
And
Now,
Israel and the rest of the
right,
democratic countries in the world. Yeah.
yes. So now here is the issue, right? So when Iran, you can see the whole process. When the U.S. military had a huge success in in the operation, a military operation in Iran in the last 2 months, China didn't really do much, right? They are sending secretly sending some weapons, munitions to the Iran, but that's not what Iran looking for. You think about this when the for Abarachi, that's Iranian foreign minister Abarachi, right? Is that how?
Yeah, I'm
Yes,
not sure. Close enough.
yeah, Abarachi. He went to Russia. Putin saw, meeting with
Yep.
him, and so they had a sit down talk. Now, Putin doesn't worry about the Western sanctions because he's been already sanctioned. He doesn't
Yeah.
care, and plus he already made tons of money after U.S. military invade. U.S. military started in Iran because the oil price jumped up. He made a lot of money. So he did.
And he's got a customer now that's totally reliant on him, and that's China.
Well, China, it no, yes, China it has been long relying on Russia, but Russia doesn't have enough oil for China though. So um, now, uh, but when Abarachi went to Beijing, just a couple days ago, Xi Jinping didn't even see him. It was Wang Yi, the
Yeah.
the foreign minister Wang Yi. met with Abarachi, and and guess what? After they met, and Xinhua news agent, that's China's official mouthpiece,
Mhm.
basically came out report the meeting results, said Wang Yi emphasized the importance of opening the Strait of Hormuz. So now I think China will not mind, send some weapons, maybe munitions, and of course a lot of materials like canned food, maybe, t-shirts, shoes, socks, so all these things to Iran, because they still have that China Europe a railroad in operation, which will go through Iran, right?
Right.
So China will still sending they don't mind sending the materials to Iran, but that's now Abarachi went to China for. He went to Beijing. He need Beijing to make a strong statement against the United States so that Iran will have a strong card in their hand to negotiate with Trump, which they didn't get it.
They didn't get it. No.
See that? They didn't get that one. So
Neither
now
they didn't get anything from Russia. They didn't get anything from China. Who's left? North Korea?
doesn't matter. Then they can't. North Korea don't can't help. They can say whatever the word from their mouths, but they're not. They cannot
Yeah.
they
So
cannot give Iran
as it
any realistic support, right?
as it sits, China is waiting for the Straits of Hormuz to open because it
So they need the oil, right?
needs the oil. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think it doesn't matter if U.S. continue this military operation in Iran or what. Trump probably can still make his trip to Beijing. Now,
He said he's going.
he said he's
He's
going,
gonna
but I
pull.
don't know. But if the military operation started, say this weekend, military start, it probably will take another 2 weeks to finish it. So I would say he probably would delay it again. There is a possibility he will delay it again.
I would bet he won't start it at least until he gets back from Beijing. That would be my guess.
That's another possibility
Yeah.
because he want to know he will have an assessment, right? What Beijing stands for, and then where the Beijing's situation is. But it's actually better, it's actually better because I don't want to see him wait. The longer he wait, the more political pressure and economic pressure will build up all around the world against the U.S. government. So I think to start earlier, it's easier. It's easier.
Get it over with.
Yeah, to
And then
get it
at
over
least
with.
you won't have to wonder whether it works or not. Well, Trump is quite as you say, the art of the deal. To me, he's a great chess master as well, of politics and whatnot. But watching him work has been absolutely amazing because two and a half, 3 months ago, Nansu, when we were talking, we were wondering what kind of leverage Donald Trump could possibly have negotiating with Xi Jinping, because he's been going to go to Beijing for several months now, and he's been delaying it. During the delay, he has pulled the rug out from under the CCP in several respects. Venezuela being a big one,
Yeah.
Panama, which what happened earlier, but Iran is huge, and so his delaying going to Beijing has really, I mean, his bargaining position has changed dramatically.
Yeah, he has a lot more chips now here
A
when
lot
he
more
goes to talk
chips.
to Xi
Yeah.
Jinping.
So when they sit down to talk, um, Donald Trump is going to look pretty strong.
Well, I don't think Xi Jinping has any car now. Rare earth, it's barely considered a car comparing with the oil, right? And gas, right? So, keep in mind, China, it's not only buy the oil and from Middle East, also gas, especially some of the gas, uh, like high. Uh,
Gas.
Yeah, those gas, are very important for the defense industry. So there's a lot of different things that's connected to the oil supply that China purchased from Middle East. So now, if you put oil, gas together with rare earths, rare earths it's not even a card that China can play anymore.
Well, when it gets right down to it, I often say to people who are complaining about oil and its impact on the environment, the problem with oil is that it is what we eat for breakfast and lunch and dinner, and it's what we wear, and it's how we get back and forth to work. It's
And
everything.
fertilizer and
It's
fertilizer.
fertilizer. It's everything. So I think Trump's magnificent move over the past half year was recognizing the significance of oil to everything and then using that significance to change everything by capturing Maduro and turning Venezuela from a ardent um, associate of China. And I just hear where he's meeting today, I think it is, in the White House with members of the petroleum industry, and they're talking about how to further develop our relationship with Venezuela.
Well,
So,
I think that's important because Venezuela has the largest oil reserve on Earth, right? And then we have United States oil. We are self-sufficient, and then we have Venezuela standing on our side. That's very important. So that's why we are there to start this military operation in Iran, right? The whole world is a panic. While United States, well, we pay a few little more. Uh, Price for gasoline. That's it. We're not in the panic situation.
as is the rest of the world, especially Asia and especially Europe as well,
Yeah, Europe too, right? So I think, and China mainly.
China
So
mainly.
yeah. So, but however, I think it's although Trump has more time than Iranian regime, but I think he still need to do it quickly. Because
Okay, that's the bet.
that's the
We
bet.
we think he's going to do it. We hope he does it earlier, and somehow we have to thump the Iranians sufficiently over the head and shoulders so that they recognize that they
Yeah,
must.
there was so many things cannot be decided. See, that's why last week I say I don't want to make a bet with you if Trump was going to China or not. You can
Well, okay,
calculate it.
let's say Trump is going to China. It's a very interesting time for Xi Jinping and China right now, because of what's happening in Iran and around the world. And Trump and Xi Jinping are going to sit down and have a conversation. And it appears to me that Xi Jinping is living in very paranoid times.
It is true while seeing that what happened in Venezuela when U.S. military went there, China, the radars and the missiles, all these things provided by the Chinese military didn't work, and again, it happened again in the in the U.S. military operation in Iran. And all their anti-missile system, all the this
All the Chinese defense mechanisms that
that they
completely
doesn't
failed.
work. I think Xi Jinping. I don't know. I think maybe Trump would on top of giving one page of um, negotiation framework to Iran, Trump need to prepare another one page for Xi Jinping. Hey, sign it.
Well, I'm sure he does have a one-page uh, things. Uh, One of the things he's going to talk to Xi Jinping about is Jimmy Lai and how the world is looking at Jimmy Lai's incarceration. Of course, Jimmy Lai was a publisher in Hong Kong who advocated for democracy.
Well, I think China probably will sell Jimmy Lai to us, for certain advantage. Trump has China has been doing that ever since we gave China PNTR in back in 2000. So what they do is they will purposely, before major diplomacy with the Western world, with the United States, they will purposely arrest some of famous human rights fighters in China, or either human rights activists or political dissident. And then when the U.S. leaders or Western leaders are visiting Beijing, they will use that as a bargaining chip,
If
to
you give me,
sell these people's freedom in exchange for economic or technological advantage from the West. So they have been doing that for what, as far as I can remember.
probably forever. It was
Yeah.
interesting. You were talking a little bit earlier about how we've been going against Iran for 47 years. I remember the fall of the Shah. I remember it very clearly. Uh, and I remember the change in the regime over there and uh, how what was once a great country is really falling into totalitarian despair, as it were. But for 47 years, we've been fighting Iran. And for about the same amount of time, China has been conducting unrestricted and total warfare against the United States.
Yeah,
So
it's true.
the timing on that was very interesting because they've been fighting us for a good 47, 50 years, and we're just coming to the realization that we're actually at war with them.
Yep.
We somehow woke up out of our panda love, as we like to call it, and so we're realizing that we're actually fighting these two countries that are very much opposed to us. So the question is, what is Trump going to ask of Xi Jinping? And what is Xi Jinping going to ask of the United States? One thing that Trump said is that we're going to raise the issue of Jimmy Lai. And as you said, okay, he's a convenient bargaining chip. What is Xi Jinping going to want in return?
Well, Xi Jinping want to sell Jimmy Lai to the United States, so they will they will see what the United States is going to offer. That's what it is. They
Okay.
probably want to say, hey, sell some NVIDIA chips or whatever.
Well,
So
what
that's
those
what
are
they're doing.
that is
They have been doing that all along, more than 20 years. As far as I can remember, a long time ago they start doing that. They just arrest a bunch of famous, war famous, well-known political active dissidents in China, and then wait for the Western leaders coming, and then that becomes their bargaining chips.
Do you think we'll wake up to the fact that that's the game they play?
Well,
I
we
mean,
know that
it's just like kidnapping, is it not?
it's true.
So you kidnap somebody, hold them for ransom.
Uh-huh.
So that's the political kidnapping is what it is.
It is true. So I don't know what Trump is going to do. So I think that I I think while we want to have provide some humanitarian help to these people, but uh be aware of the situation.
Okay. Well, okay, that's kind of looking at our first hour. And of course, we looked at Iran and we looked at China and the United States because that is where the action is right now. Um, there's still action going on with Russia and the Ukraine, but they're just bombing each other with drones as we speak, and that seems to be the what's going on over there. And but we want to take I'm going to come back from the break here. We're going to take a look at what's going on in China, and there's a lot of very interesting stories, not the least of which is it appears as though the effort by Xi Jinping to purify his military is coming to a head because he has just announced that two of his top generals have been sentenced to death, uh, but with a reprieve. And so that seems to indicate that he's starting to move on all of the generals that he has purged from his military. And so that's a huge issue. The other issue is the uh, effort to block the president of Taiwan from visiting a friendly nation. I thought that was a very interesting one. The effort by the CCP to catch spies amongst the Chinese population is really getting interesting as we move along. So we'll pick up that story. Also, I'd like to talk about food delivery in China as an indication of the health of the economy. So that's another very interesting story. Lots of interesting stories because we live in interesting times. There is a lot of pressure right now brought on by us to stop Iran in the Middle East. And it appears to be that there is an opportunity for this to actually work. And if it does work, it will, as Nansu says, change the face of the Middle East and really the world. And that will be a pretty good deal. And of course, what we're up against is a regime that knows how to delay and obfuscate. So we'll see what we can do with that regime if it's possible to do anything. This is China Now with Nansu and Michael Olson. We're going to break for the top of the hour news, but when we come back, we're going to talk about China, 中国，再见。